So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, one of the biggest risers over the past month or so in this NFL draft has been NDSU wide receiver Christian Watson. Now, Christian Watson, as I said, went to North Dakota State University and didn't get all of this recognition until very recently, until he was able to get in front of the national cameras and until he was able to show off his size, speed, hands, and abilities at events such as the NFL Combine. Now, Christian Watson stands at 6'4", 208 pounds, and at the Combine ran a 4.36 40-yard dash with a 38.5-inch vertical and an 11-foot 4-inch broad jump. In his career with North Dakota State, he totaled 104 receptions for 2,134 yards and 14 touchdowns. Now, that might not seem like elite production, right? Devontae Smith averaged nearly that much in just his final season of college football, but thinking about NDSU, they did not have great quarterback play. In fact, Christian Watson caught passes from 3 different quarterbacks a season ago at North Dakota State, and I mean, he just wasn't a featured part of the offense, as NDSU was a run-first school without phenomenal quarterback play, so they had to find inventive ways to get him the ball, as the quarterback couldn't always get him the ball over the top of the defense, even when he did beat the defense. Now, a couple interesting stats about Christian Watson are that he averaged 20.5 yards per reception at the collegiate level, which is absolutely insane, and averaged a touchdown on 13% of his receptions. That is how efficient this guy was, right? He had 104 targets, and on those 104 receptions, averaged 20.5 yards per catch and a touchdown 13% of the time he caught the ball. That is elite production, and I know it's at a smaller school, I know it's against lesser competition, but you cannot deny the production was absolutely there from Christian Watson. So today, we are going to go in a little bit more in-depth, watch a little bit of film, watch a little bit of game tape, talk about what he does well, talk about what he does not do well, and at the end, we are going to go over where we could see the Detroit Lions taking him in this year's NFL class, and if he would fit and be a good draft choice for the Detroit Lions. But with all that being said, and without any further ado, let's get into breaking down Christian Watson, wide receiver from North Dakota State. So first off, I definitely want to apologize for the fact that these clips aren't, as good as the Malik Willis clips. Obviously, with him playing at NDSU, some of the clips were harder to find, and a lot of it I could only really find the broadcast angle, which is not ideal, of course, but we're going to go based off what we have, and I'm going to show you what I saw based off the tape that is available to me. So starting off here with the first play, we're just going to take a look at what Christian Watson does best and what his biggest strength would be as he brings to the Detroit Lions or any team in the NFL, and that would be the deep ball and taking the top off of his defense. Look, I mean, all right, by the time he catches this ball, he's got 4 or 5 yards of separation behind the defense, behind the last safety. Nobody can catch him. I mean, he's just too fast, right? He's just a big wide receiver that gets behind the defense. And I think this is what he does best. He is the field stretcher. He is that 6'4", 210-pound wide receiver, runs that 4.3. He is built like Megatron. He is built like DK Metcalf. He is built like that big body, Julio Jones, prototypical, exactly what you want to see out of your wide receiver. And not only is he big, but he runs a 4.3 40-yard dash. And I mean, as you can see, right, just sneaks behind the defense, just gets right behind him. And some of this is the speed, but a lot of it has to do with his route running. His route running is really, really good. And it's hard to see here
right? It's hard to see from broadcasting angles how good his route running actually is, but it's very clear when you watch him. He understands routes. He understands how to sell his body. He understands how to, fake with his shoulders or fake with a head nod. He understands how to get DBs to commit one way before cutting the other. And really, there's only two routes I'd say he's not great at running. And there's only two routes that I would say he's not, really, really good at creating separation on. And those are comeback routes and curl routes, right? Because those are just routes that he's not built to run, right? This is another one right here. Quarterback's got no options left. What does he do? He just throws it up to the guy that he knows can go make a play. And when he lets go of this ball, when the quarterback lets go of this ball, Christian Watson is not separated. He is stacked with the Y or with the D. He is stacked with the cornerback stride for stride right next to him. But by the time the ball gets there, Christian Watson's created 3-4 yards of separation down the field. And I know it's easy to say, okay, he's just fast. That's why he's getting behind these D2 guys. He's not just fast. He runs good routes. He sells where he's going to go before he breaks, and he gets defensive backs to commit before breaking another way. And whether it's a post, whether it's a corner, whether it's a go, whether it's a dig, whether it's an out route, whether it's a slant or whatever it is, he creates separation very, very well when you're not asking him to completely turn around, right? This is another one where, he might not have taken it for a touchdown because the ball wasn't placed extremely well, but he got a good yard behind the defender and makes a really tough catch, right? It's not just the open stuff that he's good at. It's not just the walking touchdowns that you're going to see out of Christian Watson. He's going to go up and get the football. He's going to dive and grab that football out of the air. He's going to out jump people. He's going to outlank people. He's going to out muscle people to the ball. And on top of his elite speed and on top of his ability to get behind the last defender, he's got some really, really phenomenal hands. This play in particular, I think this is the play that reminds me the most of Calvin Johnson, which is not necessarily a direct comp, but when you look at just the combination of size, speed, hands, just his focus and his competition in the game. This is a Calvin Johnson-esque catch, right? The ball's a little bit underthrown. He has to jump up, go back through the wide receiver. Essentially in double coverage, right? If this ball gets tipped and he falls, this is an easy pick for the defender. Essentially double covered, DB in his face, ball is underthrown. He has to go back for it, and Christian Watson just goes up and gets the football, out jumps his guy, mosses his person, right? Not a very well thrown football. This football is completely behind him. One, it's probably not a very good throw by the quarterback, not a very good read, but Christian Watson makes it right. Just like Calvin Johnson did with Matthew Stafford. Even when you're right, you're never wrong, or even when you're wrong, you can never go wrong throwing it to 81. And that's kind of how I feel about Christian Watson. And I'm not going to compare him to Megatron. I'm not going to say he's going to become, a top 3 wide receiver of all time, but he shows these traits of being an elite jump ball wide receiver, of being just bigger, faster, stronger, but also on top of all the athletic skill, having some of that technique, having the strong hands, having the route running, having, the ability to high point that football, even if it's not a very well thrown ball, and still run after the catch, right? Picks up a good 15 yards, takes a good hit. He pops right back up. He's ready for the contact, right? Another one. He's right here at the top of your screen. He's running in. He looks back, sees his quarterback on a scramble drill. What does he do? He works back towards the quarterback and makes a diving grab for the touchdown. Easy touchdown for Christian Watson. That's what he's going to do. He's going to work back. He's going to be a quarterback friendly. He's going to make Jared Goff's life so much easier because he's just that kind of player, right? Another one, a tough grab, right? It's a back shoulder fade for a first down pickup. He knows he's going to take a hit. He knows he's close to the sideline. Still gets 2 feet in bounds, takes that hit, and even stays up and gets a 3rd feet in and gets a 3rd foot in just for good measure. Stays up, looks the DB in the face and says, yep, throw that ball right at me again. I'm catching the same ball 10 times out of 10. First down conversion, easy as that, right? On this play, he's lined up as a running back, something the Lions did with Amon-Ra St. Brown a season ago. And it's not that Christian Watson's just a decoy here. Christian Watson ran the football very, very effectively at NDSU, right? He's lined up here next to the quarterback, gets a free release off the line. Nobody covers him. It's not a good throw. He has to readjust. He has to turn around and make a tougher grab than you'd expect. and then he welcomes that contact. He goes straight through it, and that's another thing that I think Christian Watson does so well is he uses that strength. He uses just his mentality to pick up yards after the catch is really, really good. And although you might not be able to see it on these first couple plays, these next few plays is really going to highlight his ability to run after the catch and his ability to create YAC yardage. Now, this is, I mean, a touch pass, right? Technically, I guess if you really want to be specific, you could put it down as essentially a running play, but this goes on the stat sheet as a reception and as receiving yards for Christian Watson. Christian Watson catches this ball 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and this is not a good situation. This is not a good scenario for Christian Watson. You have 3 legit defenders in your way before you even break the line of scrimmage. And I mean, his burst right away gets past 3, gets past this 4th guy, right? This 4th guy takes a poor angle, dives at his ankles. You're not going to take Christian Watson down. He's way too big and way too powerful to tackle him in the ankles, and he's gone. There's nobody else in the entire screen. I mean, this safety gets here eventually. By the time Christian Watson reaches the end zone, he's 5 yards away from the nearest defender on a play that, at the beginning, right, going back to it, right off this jump, I mean, there's legit 4 defenders here. I guess you could count 5 if this guy sheds the block. And Christian Watson gets past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in frame right here. 7th person takes a bad angle, and Christian Watson's gone. I mean, at this point, nobody's catching Christian Watson on the way to the end zone, and that's what he can do as far as YAC ability, right? He doesn't need the deep ball. He can take a short pass and take it all the way to the house. Another one, right? 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And yes, the blocking's very good, but look at his power. Look at his body control on the sideline. I mean, this is Deebo Samuel type stuff. This is stuff that Deebo Samuel does very well in the running game, right? This is another play. It's not a reverse or anything, but just look at the way he fights for extra yards. He's already got the first down. They've already converted. Christian Watson wants a touchdown on every single play. I mean, look, he doesn't go down after contact. He doesn't get tackled. I mean, yeah, you could push him out of bounds, right? This fights 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, right? He catches the ball, turns, stiff arms, gets that first down. Another play, right? Not a very good ball, but he comes back to it, makes a quarterback friendly, breaks a tackle, breaks 2 tackles, and it takes 3 defenders to bring him down out of bounds, right? Another play, a running play, a direct handoff where Christian Watson picks up 11 yards, kind of like how we saw Amon-Ra St. Brown do a season ago. Another example, Christian Watson just fighting and fighting and fighting for that extra yardage. He does not want to go down. Christian Watson fights for every single yard. He fights for every single inch. And whether it's a reverse, whether it's a touch pass, whether it's a deep pass, whether he has to come back for the football, or whether he has to go track it through the air, Christian Watson wants the ball. And when the ball's in his hands, good things tend to happen for North Dakota State, right? Another touch pass. This should not turn into a first down. I mean, there's 3 defenders, 2 guys with good angles, I would even say. And this guy, if he sheds the block, is on an even better angle to get to Christian Watson. And he just gets around the edge. Easy pickup. And then the linebacker tries to tackle him. He drags him for another 5 yards. Easy as that. Christian Watson is the exact wide receiver you would want on your team. Christian Watson is the prototypical wide receiver that you would want. He's 6'4", runs a 4.3. He can outrun you. He can outjump you. He can get behind you with his route running. He can go through you with his power and strength. He is the total package at wide receiver, and I believe he should be the Detroit Lions' #1 wide receiver on their big board going into the NFL draft.
Now, I didn't really find great clips of these things in particular, but they were things that showed up on occasion, right? I couldn't find any high quality clips to put in there. They were all kind of blurry or fuzzy or just didn't look very good for the video. So I will explain the weaknesses, but I do not have clips to go with it. But I did want to mention them because he does have a few weaknesses that I do have concerns about going into the NFL. Now, Christian Watson does struggle with deep ball tracking on occasion. He's just inconsistent with it, right? Probably because he hasn't done it a whole lot, right? The quarterbacks that he's playing with don't really have the arm talent to get it out to him. So when they do, he just doesn't have a lot of practice tracking the deep ball. He can do it. I've seen him do it several times. And as you saw in those highlights and in those clips, he's done it before. He can do it. He just needs to get a little bit more consistent with it. Every once in a while, he has that concentration drop on the deep ball, just, loses it in the lights, loses it over the shoulder, whatever it might be. he needs to be more consistent with it, but it's not something that I'm concerned about at the next level. And then the other thing is he tends to not have the greatest release off the line, right? When cornerbacks are a little bit more physical, when cornerbacks are, pressed up against him, like truly pressing him and being physical with him at the line of scrimmage, he does take that extra second to get off, which can be the difference between a touchdown and an interception, or a touchdown and a forced fumble, a touchdown and a strip sack, whatever the case may be, right? That can be the difference between a big play for one team and a big play for the other, and that is something that I think the Detroit Lions coaching staff will have to work out of him if he becomes a Detroit Lion. But those are really the only two things I'm concerned about with Christian Watson, right? The size is there, the speed is there, the production is there, the efficiency is there, the competitiveness is there, the blocking, the strength is there, the stuff off the ball is really, really good from Christian Watson, and I truly believe the Detroit Lions would get a gem at the 32nd overall position if they were to draft Christian Watson. Now, as far as draft position, the Lions will need to get this guy early. If they do not pick him by the 32nd or 34th pick in this year's class, they will likely not get him. I would be surprised if he even falls to 32, but that will be the Lions' first chance to acquire the wide receiver, and that will likely be their only chance to get Christian Watson. I see him going a little bit higher late in the first round. Maybe he falls just due to the small school concerns and just due to the fact that he didn't break 1,000 yards any year in his career, right? Might get overlooked for guys like Jameson Williams, for guys like Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Traylon Burks, guys that played at big time schools in the national spotlight. But I'm telling you, if the Lions get Christian Watson, pair him with DJ Chark, with Amon-Ra St. Brown as your third, that is a speedy, that is a great route running, and that is a phenomenal wide receiver core to give Jared Goff and potentially your future quarterback. I do have a pro comp for Christian Watson, and that would be DK Metcalf. I really see a lot of similarities between him and Metcalf when he was coming out of Ole Miss. The only difference is I think Christian Watson runs routes just a little bit better than DK Metcalf did coming out of Ole Miss, but that's the kind of player you can get. A big guy that can take the top off of a defense, a good blocker, a competitive player. You can get him on jet sweeps, you can get him on handoffs, you can get him on short passes, on medium passes, you can get him over the top of the defense. There is no range where Christian Watson is not dangerous, and that's why I think he's a great prospect for the Detroit Lions. But with all that being said, that is all for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about Christian Watson down in the comments below. But with all of that being said, that is all for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching. And until next time, and as always, go Lions!